that's looking back to the east. Pizza Hut would sit right here. Okay. That other lot you're talking about is right here. And I'm sorry. That north view, it's looking northeast from 69 Highway. Northwest view again, south view, looking back to the west from the east. On that one. So now you've understood what we're looking to build, how it's going to look, and I want to kind of lay out what our intent and purpose of this project is. We're looking to give smaller businesses that have outgrown their home business models and need a space to expand into a bigger company on their way to growing, and just need a place to make that next step. I'm sure there's other various reasons why people might want to rent a space like this. That's my thoughts and what I plan on doing it, but I'm sure there's other reasons people might want to rent these. As a business owner, and over the years, I've dealt with this issue where I needed space and didn't have it, and this opportunity wasn't there. This is something that I know is something that is in need right now. I just want to help contractors take the next step and give them an affordable place to rent and grow and become businesses that are thriving. With the indoor-outdoor space facet of the project, it opens the options to many types of businesses that could want to use these spaces. A few examples that off the top of my head, what I can think of is a lawn care company, is a heating and cooling contractor, is an electrical or plumbing contractor, a home builder, someone that needs some inside storage for their smaller tools and maybe an office, and then outside storage for parking their vehicles at night in a secure place and leaving during the day and coming back and have a place to park their personal vehicles when they're at work. That's kind of my concept in designing this. It's not my intent to build these and rent it. Every person that calls wanting to rent something, it's not to rent and fill up as quick as possible to get an income. That's not my goal here. I want to be particular about who I would rent to. I want a nice development that looks good. It's rented to reputable businesses, businesses that would be good for the village, and hopefully be long-term patrons of our community. So I'm not just trying to get in this and rent to anybody and make a buck. That's not my intentions here. I'm trying to build something that's nice and bring businesses to Claycomo that can help us grow and become better. So I hope I answered most questions. If there's anything else, I think that's my presentation.
How tall is it?
I can't hear you.
How tall?
How tall is the buildings?
How tall is the building?
There's a microphone, guys.
So, yeah. I was in an accident last week and I've got a blown eardrum. So if I'm doing this, I'm not trying to be a smart ass or
No
something.
problem.
I really can't hear, so.
I
Go ahead.
understand. So how tall are those buildings?
So I don't have a design. It's pretty open to what we want to do or what we can do. I think ideally 14 foot for the front and 12-foot doors. As a contractor, I know that's a 12-foot door is a perfect size for running a business. So
One-story building.
One-story building, 14 would be the gutter line is what I would design if I was going to do it tomorrow.
So I'm at 42 North Brown, which is 2 houses off the top there. My concerns are that we see all of that right now. And if you like all that green space, we're looking at 69 Plaza and all that stuff. And we're curious right now is how you can even build on that, because right now it's just loose fill, and they're just rock and trees and whatever wants to be dumped there at the moment. So how do you propose to make that safe to build on with it just being a current dump site, because that's what it is.
Well, it can't be built on until we establish a good subgrade.
So there's 6 feet of just loose soil there right now.
Well, we've been walking that dirt in with bulldozers, so it's not just loose pushed and fill. We've been doing it, so I mean, I know what's there, and I know there's debris there, and these are slabs on grade. So these aren't gonna have basements, these are gonna be, on spread footing.
Ask him what his
And
compaction
there'll be
rates are.
design. So we're gonna have to do borings and any subgrade improvements underneath of the building, so we'll take all that into consideration when we're doing that.
I understand that. So what happens to the creek that runs currently through that property?
Good question.
Because it does take a lot of water occasionally.
Yeah,
It's not running water, it
Yeah.
just takes the flow from everything when we get rain and snow.
I understand. So we had a drainage study done on the property by KGC Engineering at Liberty, and they did a full study of all the waterways that run into that property behind Bryan Street and come into that property, and they've given us the capacities and what size pipes are needed to rechannel that underground below the property. And for this line, this is basically the creek, the ditch that runs through that property right now, is this red line. So we have a design for the flow to run a dual pipe system underneath of the.
Is it basically just a culvert at the beginning of your property line that takes out?
Yeah, so it is a. On the slide that helped me answer your question. Okay, this one. All right, so that pipe would run kind of straight at an angle across here. And this is where that pipe would daylight onto our property and exit, let the water out. On this end over here, it would have a head wall and flared ends that would collect the water into two pipes. And without reading that study, they were 42-inch, 36-inch dual pipes. At this end, there's a culvert, there's a pipe that runs underneath of the road right here with head walls here and head walls here. And we wouldn't want to make a connection there because we don't want to have a situation where it can back up or have debris collected right here. So we were leaving this open as a retention area for the water to dump in and then go across. So we had access to clean this out if it ever became an issue.
So the tree line on the back is really what's our only division between your property and that pasture, if you will, in that corner.
Yep. This line right here.
Yeah. And how wide is that? Like, what's your easement?
From here,
From the fence that, where the donkey is, basically, there's a fence there. What's the easement to,
distance, gotcha.
yeah, the distance of that?
Whatever the minimum requirement was to give us, space there. Looks like about 14 foot wide.
Okay. I have no other questions, thank you.
Hi, I'm Amber Goodwin. Live at 42 North Bryan with my husband. I do have a question for you before I state my public opinion. When you first began this process a number of years ago, and you purchased the property, and I was at the rezoning meetings, were you aware at the time that the property was split between commercial and residential at the time of the purchase?
It was not.
Okay. So I stand here in opposition, along with a letter of support and opposition from Judy Menkins. First and foremost, I apologize. Well, no, actually, I don't apologize. I had nothing to do with it. As a community and a resident, I do not feel that my property value should be sacrificed because he made a business decision to purchase property that was not fully commercial. My property value is just as important as your property value, and I'm sorry, but unless you would like to pay every resident the 1 to 5% just for the warehouse being there, let's not calculate the potential 5 to 6% additionally that can be lost due to the noise. I have stats to back it up. Forbes Business can even be, you can look it up on there, 1 to 5% of property evaluation because of the warehouse being within 200 feet. The noise is also another increase, which you can actually look at the information and depreciation value of properties due to warehouses such as this on a website called CEDS.org. It is actually an organization designed to help residents like us fight property depreciation when certain warehouses and businesses try to come into our neighborhood. So I don't feel it's on our check to bail him out of a business deal that he made purchasing property that was not fully commercial. He saves money by not having to go dump his stuff at a dump. He uses Claycomo. He buys the land, he puts his fill on it, he compacts it, and then he puts a business on it. So he saves a lot of money by coming to us. But he's taking our money at the same time. And I'm sorry, it could be up to $10,000 of my property value, just by the warehouse alone. There would be an increased traffic on 69 Highway, right at the point. And we all live in Claycomo. We all know how bad it sucks when it comes to traffic. Now let's put that traffic with potential lawn mowing businesses, tractors and trailers trying to come out of Dickinson Lane at the same time Ford's trying to let out. What a good time that would be, right? I mean, we all just love that part. Also, you have 17, what did he say? No, I'm sorry, 15 current buildings proposed. How many empty businesses set across from us and an empty shopping center? We are consistently held hostage by businesses that continue to take land and property value from us with no return. He can't guarantee anybody to fill the businesses. The last time we discussed this, he thought of 2 lawn mowing businesses. Where's the sales tax in that? Where does that benefit us? It does not. It does not. Property value is important. You live in a lovely home next to a golf course. They wouldn't want a warehouse next to that lovely home. Why? Because now all those beautiful homes' property values tank. We just had 5 beautiful homes built along Whittier, and all of those property values increased my property value. Now you're trying to tear it back down again. Let's not count into effect the neighbors whom are gonna butt right up to you and to the noise. Let's not mention the next neighbor that I'm gonna read to you about her also opposition to this. Her name is Judy Minkins, and she lives on Whittier. I apologize, I think her address is actually on this letter. Yes, she lives at 411 East Whittier Street. Now, I'm reading this on behalf of Judy, so I apologize, these are not my words. But she says, to the zoning board, subject public hearing for possible rezoning of property at 422 Dickinson Lane. She said, the notice I received from the city clerk, Melody Wymore, was not dated, but I received it on 6/16/23. There was no signature, no letterhead, so I called City Hall to confirm the date and the origin of the notice and the possible rezoning of the hearing, possible rezoning hearing of the property located at 422 Dickinson Lane. I'm not really clear on what the legal description of the property is involved, and since I received previous notice of wanting property to be zoned commercially. If the property purchase, it wasn't approved before, then why are we going through this again? Is the property to be rezoned a residential property? Whose property? I have to see a legal description. So these were all of Judy's questions, which you did answer and we can take to her. Regardless, I don't believe that we need more storage units in the village. I oppose this request. None of the property owners that I know want the noise and the congestion that this would bring, and I don't believe that any of the residential property owners are interested in selling their homes. Perhaps you could find a property that's already zoned for your needs without causing concerns of residential owners. Surely, there's another solution that's satisfactory to all residents concerned, and thank you for your consideration. So that is Judy's point as well. I also have concerns and questions about what you're using to backfill. That is a waterway.
Excuse me,
Yes.
could you take a pass and let some other people talk, and maybe we'll have enough time for you to come back?
Sure.
Do you want us to
Okay,
respond?
Want me to address some of the stuff she said or move forward?
Why not just let her finish? She had the floor.
Go ahead.
Do you want us to address some of the?
I can address, I'm a lawyer for DTG Properties. I can address the zoning issue that you started with. You can look, it's a matter of public record, it's a lawsuit, Clay County, DTG Properties, I think it is Remax Realtors involved. At the time that property was purchased, I was personally involved as the lawyer for DTG Properties. It was represented by Clay County, not the village of Claycomo, as being zoned fully commercial. It was also represented by the realtor as having been zoned fully commercial. We went through litigation based on those misrepresentations. Matter settled, I can't talk about it, but we're here now. That addresses the idea that my client knew or should have known that this was split between residential and commercial.
That wasn't my point. My point was, bad business deal. It's not on us to take the hit, the financial hit for you to be fully commercial.
I don't know what financial hit you're talking about. or what
Between
you're-
1 to 5% of
I
sales
don't
tax,
know.
no,
I
I'm
don't know-
speaking,
I
let's
don't know
not be
what that's
rude.
backed up.
That can be up to 10% of my property value, or sorry, $10,000 of my property value. That's on the highest margin of 5%.
Does this building right here, Cater Time, does that bring your property value in?
I'm saying where my
This
property
warehouse
is,
for your
you
property.
can argue this all you want, I'm talking my current property value, and you putting another warehouse will depreciate it even more, 1 to 5%. And I'm not willing to allow $10,000 to go without a fight.
And again, nobody wants to, especially my client or me. Your property is just as valuable and important to protect as this property is, so that's not what my client's saying. But I know you're calling warehouses. It's not a warehouse. This isn't the Amazon deal. This is a contractor lot. There's one of these that's not done as well as Mr. Gregg was proposing off of I-35. This is an opportunity to have 15 different businesses. Please, if you don't need to mention, I'm answering your questions. It's an opportunity to have 15 different businesses at the gateway to Claycomo over 435. That is an incubator, essentially. Property taxes, sales taxes. These people are gonna buy gasoline, they're gonna buy snacks, they're gonna be in your restaurants. And they're already successful because they wouldn't need this spot. So hopefully, at the disadvantage of my client, when they outgrow this because they continue their success, they look at the village of Claycomo for their next home. That means jobs and tax-based revenues. Now, when it comes to your property values, I don't know what studies you're looking at, but there's surely not the kind of studies that are right paired with the property. You're looking at Business Week or whatever you mentioned before, and I understand that. But this is not a warehouse. This is a business that's gonna have people coming in, 15 extra cars of traffic, maybe a little bit more. I don't wanna exaggerate on it, but we have 15 units. It's people coming in and out, okay? So on the other hand of that, when they come in and out, those are gonna be the business hours. The concerns, you're talking about noise, and you're talking about noise is one of your issues and people coming in and out. We're gonna deal with my client's investment and leases because we don't want that either. He wants to be a good neighbor, and good neighbors and good business people do get along. There's screening back here. This is an empty lot right now. Nobody's gonna build, in my opinion. I don't have anything to cite to it, but I don't think anybody's in any hurry to build a multi-million-dollar house on that lot. Okay, and I don't think anybody's in any hurry to build along that 200-foot strip of commercial land. But it's already, if you looked at the presentation that he gave, the two lots next to it, Cater Time and the Auto Body Shop, are already commercial. And I don't know if there's been any complaints to the village about them, but this is gonna be a much quieter, more prosperous, more revenue-bearing business opportunity than either of those. And so it only makes sense, especially given the fencing that he's gonna put back there. It's not gonna look unsightly. Nobody has an opinion of that because we haven't seen anything but the renderings. And so if there's actual, I think, there's a great potential, because I just drove over there down Browning Street, and I think it's Emerson. Like, I think the biggest problem to the property values over there is there's a few people that don't cut the grass and trim their bushes. That's a bigger problem when you have a neighbor than a good neighbor who's gonna have a screen back here with a complete build out, with one story, that's gonna be basically business hours. I hope I addressed some of your questions.
I don't believe that there will be no noise right off the bat. I live at 35 North Browning, right behind you. You already made the noise a lot louder from 69 Highway just by cutting down all the trees that you already have. And now you're gonna take them all out and just leave a little fence line. I'm gonna hear car noise, truck noise, everything from 69 Highway all hours of the day and night just from that. And you're gonna bring in 15 more businesses. Cater Time is a small business. They operate during the week, a certain amount of hours. Their truck drivers come in, fill up their trucks, and they leave and they're gone. You never hear these people, never. They're the best neighbors I could have. But you're bringing in 15 different groups of people and all their equipment, and you think it's gonna be less noise, or no more noise, or no more irritation? You're changing the quality of my life by doing this. I don't sleep at night very well. I've been a cancer patient, had treatments, I'm up half the night, and you're gonna have all these heavy equipment people and shit coming in at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. I may not get to sleep till 6. I bought this house because it was on a dead-end street. It was quiet, and there was woods.
Which home are you?
35 North Brown.
Which,
The one that were standing in the backyard taking those pictures of them across the street. They're right across the street, at the end of the street.
behind Cater Time?
Yes.
Okay, just trying to get my bearings on how we're impacting you.
So that's my opinion. I think you're building a pipe dream. It's not exactly true. Parts of it, yeah, it sounds wonderful. It's not gonna be 15 little mice creeping in at 8 o'clock in the morning, doing their business and leaving. I guarantee you. You won't be there, we will.
Okay.
And as I mentioned before, one of the big considerations here, ma'am, will be that we put in the leases that they abide by the village ordinances with regard to the storage and handling materials, noises. All of those things will be complied with.
I mean, in regards to the trees, it's my property. If I want to take every tree on that property, then I can. So, I mean, and then you're gonna look at 69 Highway. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to state that the trees are not your concern, they're my concern. I'm trying to, whatever I'm taking out, I'm trying to reestablish with new landscaping. So,
I think you're full of crap, and I'm leaving.
that's fine.
Hi, I'm Marina Barker, and I live at 350 East Whittier. If you go directly down Emerson, you almost run into my house there. And I'm not a real fan of the new 5 houses on Emerson, actually. I'm sure it helped our property value, but they didn't plan ahead for parking on the street. And our fire truck and our emergency vehicles couldn't get through there in one of the instances. But regardless, I didn't know tonight coming here if it was the zoning board meeting or the board of trustees meeting because it didn't state in the notice. And it's nice to meet you. I think you're new on zoning board. March, of course, I know you. I just wanted to let everyone here know, or ask you, if you serve on the board of trustees right now, have you read Appendix A, the zoning ordinance that was passed in 1950? And the reason that zones were made with the boundary lines to kind of restrict construction and keep things within certain districts. We have, if you're familiar with Claycomo at all, we have beautiful residential areas. Our business districts down 69 Highway, which I understand, I'm very familiar. John Hoagland's my mechanic up there. Carcraft has left. There's an empty building there that someone could use for a business. And Cater Time is very quiet and very good people.
I never said Cater Time was a bad.
No, I'm just saying, and we try to, it's good to get along with everybody. I'm sorry for your misfortune I heard when you got the property that you didn't know that it was. And now you've been to court, and it's a quiet thing.
Quiet thing, but
yes.
a happy thing on our side.
Well, that's good, because that means you got some money back out of it, probably. I'm just taking it that way. But I just wanted to say, please everyone understand that there's the business district, the residential districts, heavy industries, Ford. We have some light industry down on Whitney where Mathis Hauling is. The trailer park, I think, actually is heavy industry because it's across from Ford. But, anyway, if you haven't read it, hopefully it's online or on the website, but look at the zoning ordinance and see why it was created. And it's to keep the residential separate from the business. And as I said, I'm sorry for your misfortune. I received a packet from my great neighbor Judy Minkins also. I won't read your letter again. And we have a lovely donkey that lives back there, and I certainly don't want anything to happen to him through all this going on. If you're going to plan on retail businesses or businesses in particular in there, they won't be able to have signs, you see what I'm saying, on 69 Highway, or to direct people and say, oh, this is the lawnmower shop, here's this shop, here's that shop. I took a contractor's lot more so as businesses that need somewhere to put their extra tools, and I've seen the one up off of Church Road. Is that the one you're speaking of?
Yeah.
It looks very nice there. It's got a nice big lot for it. I think this is a newer picture because the picture I had did not show Dickinson Lane on there. And our road district, for forever, the businesses that went up that street, their address was US 69 Highway. And then when they put the culvert and all that new in there, which if you've been by any times pretty frequently, a semi takes out all the metal work on the corner there. Yeah, on Dickinson. So, and that's repaired very frequently. I was concerned about signs for one, and when the colored pictures, I can't think of the word I wanted, your rendition of it.
Renderings.
Rendering, there you go. It looks lovely, and looking at 15 units, I just don't understand how you could have 20-some cars in that little area, because your rendering does. And it's a street that the drive you're wanting to put down the center, it shows 30 foot wide, and then I'm a little confused with not knowing the actual lots and the sizes of the lots. Therefore, how far will that go back? Because it's kind of uneven. And you have you're not with Hardscapes, right?
Yes.
You are or no?
Yes.
Okay. Well, behind the new Pizza Hut on the south side, or north side, you have a lot there and does that tie into? It doesn't tie into that property. Okay. Well, I was just gonna, and I know you guys store a lot of stuff there. Hardscapes keeps their property beautiful down here. Everything always looks nice. The holidays, you guys do a great job with all that. I am opposed to having that go back through there because we're just, it's a block back, and the property is uneven because of where you pull in and out. We lost our Walgreens, but living there, and there's a lot more traffic there. It's not unusual to pull around and have 2 or 3 cars waiting for a truck to back from the Walgreens lot back into that lot daily. So I wondered why Walgreens didn't complain because it tore up their parking lot, but they're gone. So anyway, my concern is just, I know you guys have nice landscaping and things look good, but I truly believe it will lower our property values also. And I'm uncertain kind of about the property lines, and would that the entryway that's shown on here, would that actually enter off of Dickinson Lane or off of 69 Highway?
It would be off of Dickinson.
So it would come in at an angle?
It comes in, when you turn in Dickinson, our entrance would be straight ahead. You wouldn't have
Straight
any
ahead.
attachment.
Yeah, but it would be a Dickinson Lane address though, correct?
Yes.
And I'm sorry, give me 1 second here. I appreciate the fact of a retention pond, kind of concerning with mosquitoes and such. We've got a lot of beautiful woods back in there, and the ticks and skeeters are bad all the time, so I'm glad you guys considered it. But there's been times, and actually that was a creek many moons ago, and there were cattle where my house is. But it is now a runoff from I-35. So when we have significant rains, I've seen it come up over the bridge on Whittier, over the railings on the bridge on Whittier, and we know what water does, and swerves around there. So I'm glad to know that the red lines are the creek, or the waterways. Existing waterways. Okay. Well, anyway, that's, I hope everybody finds time to read about our zoning ordinance and why things are set up in a certain way. And it concerns me, I do feel sorry for your loss, not knowing. It concerns me if we go ahead and change things for something that isn't really necessary or needed, then why not change everything, every person's requests that come in here? So, but thank you.
To address this is the, if you look at the consistency down 69 Highway, this is really the last lot that isn't a commercial lot. So I mean, we recognize that. I think the variations you're talking about with the highway, the reasoning behind it, and the distance off to keep a consistent commercial zone through there, I think that got kind of thrown off when they rerouted the highway, and so things kind of got mixed up along the way. So I know what you're saying when it comes to that. These aren't meant to be walking distances. This isn't a store that they're advertising and people pull in and just buy something and leave. This is more for a service business that is heating, cooling, plumbing. You know, they're not coming in asking for parts and buying and leaving. They're calling for service, and this is more of a location for them to operate from. So kind of with what you said, that it tends not to have a bunch of storage either. That's not what they are.
Right.
Storage.
Well, and thank you for that. My husband has a Barker Heating and Cooling a block back,
Yes.
and fortunately we have plenty of space for our stuff. But what I'm thinking is it going to be an address, like I said, for retail? Because how will you know to go in there, for one? And then they should have sales tax.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we don't sell any, my husband does a service and is a sole proprietor. We don't sell parts from our house or anything. We don't have traffic
Right.
coming in and out, but it's also, you said it's a service.
Yeah.
So are you saying that there could be a business in there with a secretary sitting in a unit taking calls for service?
Possibly, that'd be it.
Is it gonna be air conditioned?
That's up to the tenant finish per building, so that'd be per tenant, what they require, what they need.
Well, that's what I was just saying, that I see it as, kind of, if you're gonna have extra tools or extra supplies, it's kind of a storage unit.
Yeah.
And along those lines, we have Village Storage that's been here forever, well, not forever, but a long time. And then we have other storage units on down across from Nellie Bell's, and they're indoor-outdoor storage. And if you drive down here behind Village Storage and other places along the creek, they're not so glamorous. And my concern with this and something else happening there is when you allow things to be stored outside, it's a mess.
Yeah, I agree.
And we have ordinances that don't allow you to work on vehicles or anything outside. And if you go down here, as I said, to Village Storage, there are Trans Ams that are older than me that have been parked there all these years, and they've set. Those people are probably dead that own that car, but every fluid from that vehicle is coming out of it, going right into the ground, right into our creek. And we've got a close creek there. We got creek problems here.
I understand what you're saying. This is not that. This is not gonna be used for it. This is, I'm trying, that's what I'm trying to, I'm gonna be particular. It's not gonna be that. It's not intended for outdoor storage. It's more for parking for their business day to day, for them to park their personal vehicles, take their work vehicles and go. Like you said, there could be a secretary answering phones, dispatching. I don't know exactly.
And have you thought about on the application for anyone applying there, what the requirements would be for the type of business, or?
I would absolutely make sure I knew what they're trying to do before we would consider anyone.
Thank you.
I'm Dale Geller, I'm the chairman of the zoning board. I just want to mention, she said that the zoning ordinance was appendix A to the city village ordinances. It's been changed, it's now section 31 of the ordinances. So if you go to read it, you need to read 31 on it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My name is Jason with, I'm a resident, I'm also the economic development chair here in Claycomo. You talked about there not being a need. I think one of the challenges with Claycomo is it's blighted and aged, and I think bringing on new businesses, 15 businesses in a new construction facility is gonna improve the look of the neighborhood, if you will. I hope that it would cause other businesses to also do that. Also, just thinking the trees in the back, those arborvitae trees, they're great sound barriers, and not that there will be any sound, but they are great sound barriers. Had it in my old house and help block highway sound, and so there's lots of reasons why 15 new small businesses in Claycomo is a really good thing, and so I just want to say that. I'm also a resident off of Longfellow, so thank you.
Thanks for coming in tonight. I'm Mark Benton. I live in Villageville, over off of Riley Street. And if this opportunity would have been available 15 years ago when we moved in on our property, I would have took advantage of it. There's several of these around the metropolitan area. They've also been called seed business opportunity businesses. They're a great place for businesses to come in, get your feet on the ground, continue growing. There are some that I've been in and out of that I have retail capabilities as well. It's not like going to Walmart, because it's a contractor coming in and getting specific parts and leaving. It's not anywhere, they're not high traffic. We sit over here on North Riley. We back up to Miller King Park. You can't hear yourself think out there when the highway's busy. And we are almost 3/4 of a mile away from that highway, with trees, houses, and everything else. So it's not the noise issue that bothers me. Nothing bothers me about this at all. I think it's a great thing for our village. It's an opportunity for a new construction to come to our village. It's a time for our village to step out of 30 years of back seat driving, come to the forward, and start modernizing our village and grow. All these other empty buildings sitting around, it's not his fault. Talk to the people that own them. I've tried to release a couple of them, and the prices are ridiculous, and the condition of them are terrible. Won't pay it. If you want to get on anybody's back about the empty buildings in this village, talk to the owners of the property that own the buildings. The board can't do anything about it. He can't do anything about it. He's trying to do something positive for our village. And being in the same field as being in a construction field, I can tell you, he's not going to do anything there that's going to violate any of the codes, or he'll get shut down. If he gets shut down, he's going to take it all out. He'll waste the money that he invests there. So it's going to be done by the EPA, it's going to be done by every code of the county, it's going to be done right, or it's not going to happen. That's from my opinion, from I deal with it every day. The moment he steps out of line, they do not do what's required, he will be shut down, and he'll either make it right, or the project's done. But it's a great thing for our village. There's going to be 15 opportunities, people that currently work out of their basements and their garages that are successful but can't grow because they don't have the money to go to the 3 times their size, but they can make that next step. That's their next step. That's gonna make them successful, it's gonna bring money into our village. But
I don't think that the intention is for sales tax, it's bringing people in to buy goods, to buy gas, to buy food, to buy, you know.
it's the effect of more traffic and different people, actually, it's getting more insight into what's here. When people come in here and they go, hey, there is an empty building over there, I've been looking for someplace to go. But if we don't get those people in off of 435, I-35 in the areas, they don't know we're here. And so things continue to degenerate. This is a great opportunity, folks, it really is.
Joyce Buchanan, I live on Meadowbrook, I'm on the opposite side, I call us the forgotten side. I have to say, BC Hardscapes has done a great job to keep things nice and clean on 69. My house has depreciated because of the people that live around me. So I would much rather you come in my backyard and build and keep it the way that I see BC Hardscapes is kept, opposed to having chickens running around, dead carcasses that I smell when I mow my yard, grass that hasn't been mowed for 3 summers now, neighbors that have trash in their backyard, they store it in their carport, put covers around it, cars in the yard covered up with a tarp for 32 years. We've lived here since 1988. Claycomo has done nothing but gone downhill. We need new businesses coming in here in order for this village to survive. So I am all for it. I'm sorry you live behind it. Hopefully there's not gonna be the noise. I hear wrecks on 435 from my house. We hear the sirens. You know, we hear all the noise from 435. And there's nothing we can do about that. So hopefully they'll take care of any noise that's happening. They'll keep some trees so you guys can't see the buildings. But hopefully it'll be nice and clean, bring more people into the community and help Claycomo out.
Hi, gentlemen. I'm David Jett. I live here in the village. I'm also on the board here. But I am one of those small businesses that you speak of. I own a remodeling company, and I am honestly outgrowing my garage. I don't have space for a 40 by 20 shelter for me to park and put all my tools and equipment. Something like this would be ideal for me because, again, I run out of garage space. I encourage it, and I hope this goes through. My question was, how much do you plan on investing in the village?
As far as this property or all properties?
Let's just go with this one.
I mean, when I read numbers, it's a $1 to $1.5 million project. So, I mean, it's not just.
It's not small potatoes, this is a decent size.
I just think it might be a price.
My other question would be, for some of the residents that would be behind on the back side of that property, and I know you have the tree line, I see what you guys are wanting to do. If, let's per se, a resident wanted to work with you on something and brought up a situation, you would be willing to work with those neighboring residents around you with trying to help, whether it be a noise issue, whether it be a site issue, whether it be something along those lines, you're willing to work with your neighbors to appease them, am I correct?
Absolutely. If there's a variety of tree, if there's some look that we can help facilitate to what you're gonna look at.
Yep.
I'm open suggestions. My objective isn't necessarily what I've got drawn.
Right.
It's a concept. It's, intent is
Come on.
to buffer and give privacy to that neighborhood and in my opinion, something nicer to look at than they're looking at right now. So that's my thought.
I hope it happens, I really do, because like I said, I'm one of these people that we're discussing right now, so.
Great. Thank you.
Just had another random thought and a question. At any given point, since you purchased that property with everything that went on, the foul play, misguidance, misrepresentation, whatever, has anybody in this village offered to buy it off of you? Ever? Would you You sold it and we offered it?
I understand.
I just wondered.
I just got a couple statements to make. I'm neither here for this project or against it. I will say a couple things though. I know that you purchased this property on the other side of Zed's. Found out that that was halfway in Claycomo, half in Kansas City, Missouri. This isn't the first time you've been down this road from me. That's my point. I'd like to know what kind of construction material, building material you're gonna build this out of. Can you tell me? Is it precast, metal, or?
My intention is metal with a, stone veneer, wainscot around the bottom.
Okay, well, the point I'm trying to make is, this gentleman said that noise is gonna be at a minimum. We've all seen the noise barriers up and down 35 highway, made out of concrete, that make the sound bounce back towards the roadway. My point is metal and concrete do not absorb noise. I can sympathize with the neighbors, but maybe when you're designing this, you could possibly think about putting a sound barrier in there somewhere in the construction. I'm assuming this is gonna have a fence around it, it's gonna be enclosed. So I don't know what kind of fence you're contemplating, like chain link or what it is, but that might be something you might think about in the design when you're putting that up. And another thing I'd like to make is, since that's over a drainage ditch, I'm not in favor of building over that because we all know paving doesn't absorb water. You're just gonna make, paving concrete does not absorb water, you're just gonna cause more of a runoff problem. Other than that, I don't have anything else to add to the conversation. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I want you guys to understand, I'm not opposed to your business. I'm opposed to your business rezoning property that butts up to our property that does depreciate our property value. Whether it be you agree with me or not, the consensus among those of us that it does touch, yes, it does depreciate. Yes, we as Claycomo need to do something different. This is not necessarily the meeting to have that conversation, because yes, there's other things we need to do. I just do not feel that this is the solve. I don't feel that asking us to sacrifice is gonna save everything. Actually, Miranda made a great point. Hardcraft is open, it's already zoned for commercial and buildings are present. So there's other solutions to the problem without asking the residents to take a hit this way.
Ma'am, can I ask you a question if you don't mind? How long have you lived at your residence?
I have lived over 20 years
Okay.
in Claycomo.
And when you bought it, did you look into, because I know you're concerned about this zoning
Yeah.
issue, did you look into the zoning of my client's property?
Why would I? And not only that, but
But-
you're also asking us to take a concept value.
I'm only saying that had you looked into it with the Clay County, or
One thing,
you would have
you're
found that it
asking me a
was,
hypothetical question for 20 years now, please.
It's fine.
There was a house on that property when I moved in.
but that doesn't mean that it wasn't
I
zoned.
did have a question when I took my loan out about cater time and hardcraft and my property value. So yes, I did look into that, but as far as your question, that's hypothetical and 20 years ago and completely irrelevant.
It's also kind of hypothetical, wouldn't you agree that what you're saying about your decline in property values and whatnot will
It's
necessarily
not
happen?
hypothetical. And not
Okay.
only that, but you're not giving us an actual building. You continue to show us a beautiful building and site, but you tell us it's a concept. So I have a problem with this. Is it actually gonna be that way, or is it just a concept? Again, I'm not opposed to the business here, okay? I just think there's better places to do it where you don't inconvenience your residents. I understand you were inconvenienced, that sucks. That's not our fault.
This isn't, I'm not looking to rezone this because I was inconvenienced. When I bought this property, doing something with it was always my intention. The fact that it was sold to me as half commercial, half residential, I'm not saying it's your fault, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying is I bought it as a commercial property with the intent of doing something with it, okay? Now I'm trying to make it right so I can do something with it. I'm not saying you did anything wrong, I'm not trying to say that this is your problem and impact you. I'm I'm just telling you, I don't believe it is. It's tomato, tomato, that's all, you know. If I can ask you a reasonable question, forget my project that I wanna do. What would you want to see on this property? And I'm just asking what kind of project would appease you that makes sense for a business that owns it. I mean, I know you want to park there, but the park doesn't do me, the business owner, or the owner of the property, any good.
Understood.
So I'm just
Yeah.
asking, within reason, what would you like to see here? A fast food restaurant that's open 24 hours a day?
Well, no, because it's not zoned that way. Here's my point, okay?
Okay.
Yes, I do like the green space. It does add value to properties in general. Mature trees add property value to neighborhoods. They add curb appeal. That's what brings neighborhood, that's what brings
Well, I'm
neighbors
not,
in.
the green space isn't an option.
I understand that, it's your
what would you-
property, you're gonna do, I understand that, I'm just standing in staunch opposition to rezoning, because it doesn't affect us. You know?
So
If you- if you have homes-
a house there's okay with you.
Yeah,
And then something built on the commercial that I have in front, right behind that, it was okay with you.
yeah,
It doesn't make any sense,
because it's zoned that way, I can't argue that.
Okay.
I understand where you're trying to flip this,
If
but
I
I'm
go on that
standing
front
on
piece,
my point.
you're still
You're-
getting a commercial property on that front piece.
but it's always been that way.
I just wanna make sure you're okay with the commercial property.
Trying to do this, to make everybody budge.
I wish I had. That'd be a great idea.
I have a question for these two. This is good from your point of view, fire trucks, putting out fires and all that. You've looked
Yes,
at it?
for the plans that have been submitted to us, we've analyzed those to make sure fire trucks can get in and out. And it's plenty wide enough. We have the required fire flow for the business from the hydrant directly across the street, 450, or directly across 69, 455 provides enough fire flow for the building. We have access for emergency vehicles. In fact, it might even be a little easier not having to make that such a tight corner.
You have to do fire inspections on each of these individual units.
Yes, every year I do an inspection on all commercial properties to make sure they meet the current fire code.
But it would be each individual unit, not the entire property. You have 15 units, they're doing business separately, and we just,
Correct. It would be 15 separate fire inspections with 15 different, property occupants.
with the police chief. Will you be able to enforce the laws there? This will be private property, just like the, trailer court down here, where you stop at the gate and say, we can't go in there, it's private property unless they're killing you. Will you be able to enforce our nuisance laws and everything else in this property?
I don't know.
We have to have some arrangement with them to do that.
You're gonna have to tell me what you talk about the killing people. Can you expand on where you're talking about? There's no trailer park over here, so I don't know what you're talking about. There's a trailer park in Northgate, which is down there. And we enter that property daily to enforce the law. So yes, it will be treated just like it is in Northgate, yes, sir.
Okay, I'm a little concerned about that, because people come down here all the time, and you say, no, it's private property, we can't make them.
So what he's talking about is Northgate has expressed interest for us writing speeding tickets at Northgate. If private property, we're now allowed to write speeding tickets on a private driveway. We do all the time, we just wrote several this week. We enforce nuisance violations, crimes there, we do that all the time. We just had a drug house we dealt with the other day anyway. But no, we're not allowed to enforce speeding tickets at Northgate. That's correct, sir. And we would not be able to enforce speeding tickets here either.
Okay, so you're not gonna have any problems?
No, sir, I see no issue.
Can I help you along, Philip? Just want to make sure everybody understands, without changing any zoning, doing anything, you can plow it down to dirt tomorrow and turn it into a parking lot. And we can't do anything about it, and it's a parking lot.
Can't hear you.
Everybody's questions, bring more questions. Just curious, as I said, you have lovely property, you keep everything nice. I know you all have helped with our village signs at the entrances and take care of the landscaping for that. On your property behind, I know when you all went into hardscape there, you moved the little house back on Poe. put the
From
basement,
here, yes, yes.
yeah, down the other way.
I think that house is
Poured the
pretty nice, too.
foundation, yeah, very
One of
nice.
the nicer ones in town, I would say.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, on Mildred Keeney's lot there. But anyway, so you move that house, and there was a Drake Circle there, which was a little teeny weeny trailer park. And I believe as people have moved out, are all the trailers gone from back there now?
Yes.
Okay, so you all have everything back basically to Claycomo, to Mildred Keeney Park, correct? On the north side,
We have everything in this corner.
right?
On the tree.
Okay, on Whitney, behind the gun shop, all the trucks that are parked there, do you own that? Who owns that?
Bill Edwards Trust.
Okay, so you don't have enough room over where your other part is? Do you use the trucks that are on Whitney in that lot
Every day.
every day? Okay, I'm old, but I'm just wondering, do you not have, are you not required to have license plates on all the trucks?
This is about a lot.
I know, sir, I'm just wondering if there's other areas that he could,
I don't know.
You know, maybe don't.
I don't think there's any trucks in there that don't have license plates.
okay, well,
They're everyday trucks.
right. So they're in and out there every day,
Yes.
and the same with behind Pizza Hut on that
I
side?
don't own that lot either.
You know, oh, is that,
Belongs to Pizza Hut.
oh, does it? Okay. I knew that, I'm sorry. All right, I was just curious as far as the property wise.
Which explains the lack of improvements on those properties. I keep maintenance as far as trimming and to a minimum, but I haven't done infrastructure work on those properties because I don't own them. So, had I owned them, they'd look like the front of this property.
Right.
And, you know, that's our intention for any property that we own, is to make it look nice and give it that curb appeal.
Thank you. This is not about your lot, but I want to ask this. Who is our current zoning board? Who is on the current zoning board? Dale Geller, your chairman? Randy, I just met you. And Marge, you've been on there.
Ben Watkins is also.
When was Ben Watkins put on the zoning board?
3 months ago, 4 months ago.
Okay, can I ask what happened to Terry Selfberger? Well, I'm just asking because, most people know I've been around here forever, and people are tired of me, but they worked in this room right over here as a board, and went over maps, and worked endlessly for years to get things updated and upgraded. So my concern is, Ben Watkins is new on the board. I would like to have somebody with some knowledge on
I'd be
this.
interested in Ben's view on it, because he took a lot of property and rezoned it to put a Walgreens in when he had a gas station there, so I'd be curious how he went about that and what his thoughts are on this. When we talk about rezoning, I'd be curious what his.
Well, that was on commercial, but yes,
I
people.
know the house behind it.
Yeah, they took out sold a duplex, yeah, a house and one duplex, but,
Yeah, I'm seeing what you
We
mean.
had a zoning meeting. I was at that zoning meeting because I oversight several boards. Ben Watkins, we introduced that idea, the presentations come. Ben Watkins' immediate response is that's a wonderful idea for our village. That's the exact response.
so that's why he got on the board.
No,
Okay.
that was before he didn't know it was
Okay,
coming.
I mean, it works. I'm just wondering who's going to be voting on this, because we have 2 zoning board members. Mr. Geller has stepped away from this issue, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and you're gonna bring on, board of trustees to do the voting? How's that going to work? Because
They're
3 of
right.
our board members have already, they're in favor of it. Pardon me, Lauren? The board of trustees? What do you think, Brandy?
We don't have enough members to have a forum to make the vote ourselves.
They don't have a full quorum, do they?
We would just vote the recommendation to the board of trustees who would make the final decision. So if we approved it or disapproved it, it would be, we recommend approval or we recommend disapproval to the board of trustees who would then make the final decision.
So it's up to the board of trustees. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no further questions, we'll close the meeting and thank everybody for coming this evening.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for coming down.
Yeah, it's all right. Have a good evening.
Oh, you too.
Tell Norma I said hello.
All right, I will.
Larry, how